And welcome on to 2000 Atmospheres for what is going to be a best of 5 in the quarterfinals of the DreamHack Masters Winter Finals. And in the bottom left, you have Clem, hailing from Team Liquid. And in the top right, there we go. It's Trap from A Freak of Freaks. And hello, YouTube. It is I, TitanOnFire, and I'm very, very excited about this series. Trap facing off against Clem, quarterfinals, best of 5 time. One of them goes on to face off against Maru in the semifinals. Maru, who did get a 3-1 victory over Dark. Very, very exciting. And I did a little bit of research before I got on into this game because I wanted to know all of the facts, all of the details before hopping into the series. And so I looked it up on Oligalac. Because Trap vs. Clem are most likely players who haven't really faced a ton, but they actually have played a bit before. And that really, I find quite interesting. But in the few times that Trap and Clem have faced, they have gone 7-7. So, you know, they've faced in a few best of 5s and a few best of 7s, of course, getting, because of course they're two players that have gone very deep into tournaments before. But they are 7-7, 50-50. They are actually even. And that is surprising because Trap's PvT, I think, is one of his strongest matchups. That is what a lot of people say makes Trap, you know, one of the best Protosses in the world, probably. Would be his PvT alongside his mastery of PvZ, especially late game PvZ. But they're 50-50. And Oligalac, just with Clem's current form, and kind of on a reminder of Clem's current form, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Lots of finals recently. Not only just, you know, winning finals, but getting to finals in most major events, or at least the semis or quarters. Clem, in the past, like, 2 months, has not gotten worse than, I think, a round of 8 result. Oligalac rates this at like over a 60% win rate for Clem, which I don't know how I feel. I feel like Trap's PvT is strong. I haven't seen Trap's PvT in a while though. The last time I did end up seeing it, I believe, was a long time ago. He's mostly been having success with his PvZ, but on into the game, we are having a proxy Stargate right off the bat. So Trap doesn't want to sit back and be idle, which is very smart because Clem's macro, it's pretty dang good. And so you want to do as the Protoss as much as you can to try and disrupt the Terran. Now, we did not have a Reaper opener here from Clem. This is kind of become standard in recent times, is that players will be going for no Reaper, just immediately on into the factory and the starport, which Clem is proxying. So you know what that means. It's going to be the Hellion drop, as Clem has placed that in a spot that you wouldn't normally check to scout. If you're looking for proxies as Trap, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go along the right and the left sides of the map? You're not necessarily going to be looking, you know, right by those rocks that you pass by every single time you rally over to your opponent's base. So I really love that hiding spot from Clem, but he's going to be rallying, you know, 4 Hellions on over there, getting a medevac out. But this does mean that Clem, he's not going to have a lot to defend at home, and it's immediately a chrono boosted Oracle from Trap. I really don't know if there's a lot for Clem in the mineral line to try and defend against this. Yeah, I mean, it's so many Hellions being produced at once. Now, Trap does see the 4 Hellions, and that's a bit of a tell. You don't normally go Hellions in this matchup, especially that many, but here we go. Oracle on into the mineral line. What is there? There's 2 Marines on the map, and that is about it for Clem. No, it's only 1. He didn't build even a second. This Oracle has just full reign of Clem's base right now, and already 5 worker kills. It will eventually run out of energy, and we'll have to get on out there, but here we go. Ooh, Hellions. Trap not expecting it on into the natural. The lineup, oh, the shot! 7 probes go down, and 8 on the way out. Now focusing down the Adepts. Clem manages to strike back. Actually, Trap does not have quite enough units, so it has to retreat back to the shield battery, but the Oracle's gonna go back in. It's gonna try and even up the workers lost, and it should absolutely be able to do that. 4 more go down for Clem, and early skirmishes across the board. 10 probes to 9 SCVs lost. Of course, you know, Clem having to commit a bit more there to try and defend, as you now have 3 Oracles out here for Trap. And again, this is just going to keep Clem back in his base, but the real savior here for our French Terran is that he got that counter damage with the Hellions. Had those Hellions not made their way into the natural, had Trap not been moving his Adepts up to preempt that medevac into the main, Clem would be so far behind right now, but as it is, he's gotten 9 probe kills, or 10 probe kills, and is trying to continue to fish around, but only has a single Hellion left as that one gets sniped. But now it is Phoenix production from Trap. Gonna be getting Phoenixes out, of course. Using those Phoenix, you can lift up the Cyclone, which is gonna be the main danger to these Oracles. At the same time, it's Adepts that are gonna try and shade, I think, right on into the natural. Yeah, they're not even gonna go for the main. Should be able to draw most of the units down here for Clem. The Marines having to come on down. The SCVs having to fight, which is not what you want, as here we go, Oracles on in. It's just a single Cyclone as the lift goes up, and Trap should be able to get some massive damage here. Already kills 2 Cyclones, 5 more workers go down. And Clem is getting absolutely just beaten down in this early game. I mean, it's still at 33 workers, but I mean, the Oracle's just going back in again. There's not really much you can do. Even with this many Marines, you don't have stim. These Marines are very, very slow in comparison with the Oracles. And Trap has not lost any. I mean, now looking at it, you know, sure, Trap lost all those Adepts, but he's killed 17 SCVs, killed the 2 Cyclones, and suddenly Clem's army is massively set back. If Clem is able to build up an army with the Cyclones, you know, that's just so much more pushing power for him. But now it's just the Marines. There is finally, you know, a Viking added on, but that only can do so much to push away these units. If they dive in, the Phoenix can take on the Viking, and then the Oracles can get into the mineral line if Clem is out on the map. And because of this, now you're gonna have Clem, who's gonna have to sit back defensively for a little while. You know, it still doesn't have stim. That's about halfway done. And now you have Phoenix that are able to continually harass and poke on into mineral lines, try and get damage. I do like those Widow Mines Burrowed for Clem, but there's just no real map control that this Terran can get right now. And if you try and push out with the Marines, as we see, Oracles could turn onto small groups and absolutely shred through them with 3 of them. And behind this, what's Trap doing? Well, he's taking full advantage of it. You know, this is what Trap is good at. He knows that stim isn't done research yet. He knows how many barracks there are and what the tech is for the Terrans. So he gets his 3rd base. He produces only workers up to this point, and then as soon as he realizes, okay, stim's probably going to be finished up right around, you know, when it should, which is the 725 mark or 730, then he starts on the additional gateways, and those should be finished up as soon as any push is coming out from Clem, who right now doesn't have a 3rd base. So for Trap, it's charge and armor on the way. Does not have those upgrades done yet if Clem wants to push out right now, but even then, I don't think Clem does. Even with stim, you know, even with a decently sized army, the problem for Clem is if you push out and Trap defends and Trap is able to kill your army, that's all you have. You don't have anything left. And I think Trap is fully aware of this. You know, is again gonna move his Phoenixes back, keeping tabs on the army, and just kind of trying to see what Clem has. And finally, Clem's gonna put down a 3rd base on location, but it's so delayed compared to that of the Protosses. I mean, you already see about what, 15 worker lead for Trap, and that's only going to grow. And you know, in the next minute and half that it takes for this command center to finish. And so yeah, Trap's immediately going to throw down a 4th base. I mean, there's not much that Clem can do here. He's stuck on his side of the map. Trap has, I mean, masterfully managed this game up to this point, and it's now getting to the spot where Trap can completely focus on building army. And usually the one advantage that the Terran has is that, oh, well, I just have more stuff than you. I can split up, you know, I can try and attack multiple places, you get drops going, because your tech units need to be elsewhere. That's not the case right now for Trap, because he's on a completely gateway-based army aside from the Stargate units. And so when it comes to a straight-up brawl, it's only 7 army supply lead for Clem, who's trying to push out, but you just see here, Marines are going to get picked off. Again, if anything is segmented for Clem, it can get picked off. And right now, Trap has a massive army to the right. It's, I mean, not massive. You know, it's a lot of Zealots, and that means that, of course, these Widow Mines will get a lot of value. But Trap's now going to be taking a supply lead, a significant one for the first time. And he's going to try and push across the map. I really don't think there's anything... Yeah, there's just nothing that Clem can do. Again, he's setting up very deep Widow Mine lines. He knows that there's... I mean, I don't know if Clem knows that there's a lot of Zealots in this army, but has to assume that there is, looking at just what Trap has been going for. Of course, had the scan earlier. But now Trap's going to be looking for an attack, and this is so dangerous for Clem. He's only just gotten his third base really established. Doesn't have a Ghost Academy. And behind this, Clem, I mean, he's on 4 bases, as we do have a Widowmine drop going on into the 3rd and the 4th. Doesn't even look like they're going to get any damage done. No workers go down. And you have preparation from Trap for a transition. As, ooh, these Oracles getting caught out would be big. Only one of them ends up going down. But it's a good catch there for Clem. The small Zealot, but he doesn't get seen. Oh, and the force fields onto the main force here for Clem. The pickups onto the Widowmines. Only one left. Immediately focused onto the Phoenix. The Zealots also take a massive shot, but while this is happening, Clem moving an army over. Oh no! Oh, look at the mini-map. Clem's entire right side force just got caught in a stasis ward. Trap's gonna push through. GG. A masterful game 1 from Trap. And welcome to Curious Minds. It is our destination for map number 2. It's an interesting map, this one, but Trap did manage to pick up that win in game 1. And it was a pretty masterful game, as there's not really much that you can do as the Terran in that situation. It's just kind of how it is, you know? That's just kind of how it is, as we do have Trap here in the top left. A gratuitous shot of Trap's Nexus, looking at how fabulous that Protoss architecture is. And less so sleek with its architecture is the Terran buildings, as in the bottom right, it is going to be, of course, from Team Liquid, Clem. This time we get a shot of the workers. Working hard, SCVs. Ready to go. But yeah, that game 1 on Light Shade. Just a superbly well done game from Trap. Of course, it was looking a bit sketchy, you know, when the Hellion drop made its way in and evened out the damage. But then Trap just recognizes, hey, you know what? I actually just have to keep committing, because your starport is across the map. You are still building your tech lab, so he goes up to 3 Oracles. That gives him even more harass options, gets the Phoenix added on. And Phoenix, normally, if you're just producing them with a Stargate at home, already do give the Protoss quite a bit of map control and presence, and it allows them to kind of slow down the Terran and keep information on them. When you're doing it off the proxy with the 3 additional Oracles, it allowed Trap to have so much more agency on the map, and it really stopped Clem from doing anything across the map. There was one Widowmine drop that made its way out after that, and I think that maybe got 1 SC or 1 probe at the most. And then other than that, it was mostly just a Trap with complete map control, just shadowing the movements of Clem's army, and just nailing all the production cycles, as you would expect Trap to. You know, again, Trap's PvT, it's really good. Even in the scrappier situations, he knows how to close them out. And that's what's really awesome about Trap. Now, this game, we do have Clem, who's not being, so far at least, is not looking to do the exact same opener. Is not going to be looking to do any sort of Hellion drop. Instead, it is going to be the immediate Widowmine. Of course, this is just for a bit of defense, because there was the additional Zealot that was produced by Trap to help deal with the Engineering Bay block. And the NG Bay block is something that we've actually seen players like Maru really like to do. Maru has been one that's been doing quite a lot in TVP, and it does just slow down the Protoss that extra little bit, especially if you're going for a high ground CC. It's not going to cost you as much money to delay your CC as much as it's going to slow down their Nexus. And that just means that usually the Terran will get their Nexus on location and either close to or finished morphing by the time the Nexus finishes up. And so it's a really nice opener. I really do like it here from Clem. As Trap pushes a bit too far forward. The Widowmine's very nicely placed. That's going to completely eliminate any sort of hopes that Trap had of trying to press across the map with that group of units. But it is going to be the Oracle heading across the map. So Trap kind of running back the same build this time, though, has it started from home. Just means that, of course, you're not going to get into the mineral line as quickly. And with the opening that Clem has done, I really like I like when players adapt, and that's actually exactly what this is from Clem. Again, you're not going to try, if you know that your opponent is going to open Stargate, there's no reason to risk something like a Hellion drop, when you can just go for a standard Widowmine drop, push with Marines, and you'll still have those Marines back home for defense if you absolutely need, and you'll have enough to defend the Oracles. So far from Clem, a really solid opener is going to be trying to get some double-pronged pressure here. Now, you have the Marines that are going to try and push up the ramp, and then also it's going to be the Widowmine drop on in to try and get rid of some of these units. Now, the Marines immediately get shredded by the Oracles, so the drop goes down, and oh, that Widowmine hit. Trap actually handled that almost perfectly, but I think pulled the probes a bit too eagerly on that final Widowmine. Loses 6. The Revelation, though, was well placed and completely stops that attack as this Phoenix trying to chase down the medevac, but the Marines doing a bit of damage. Doing a bit. But Clem will have to pick on up and get out of there. And now Trap looking to see what there is back at home. It's a Cyclone and a Raven in production for Clem. And the Raven's a strange unit in TVP. Not every Terran's gonna get one. It's not like in TVT where the Raven is a must. You just have to get an early Raven, or you're really gonna struggle to hold pushes. In TVP, it's an option, definitely. If you know that your opponent is going to be going for something like early Colossus, then the Raven actually is super efficient and effective. If it's against Stargate play, it is less effective, but it still has its uses. So Clem just going to be adding on, is going to be sending across the map to look for a bit of harass damage, but Trap is trying to push down the front here. And it's just 3 Stalkers with the Oracles, and actually, Trap's just going to commit on in. He thinks he has enough, and, well, right now does, but immediately the Cyclone lock-on goes onto one of the Oracles, and another Phoenix is going to go down. Clem just brings his units that were pocketed up in the main base down as soon as Trap commits to trying to push that front. And it's going to completely be able to stop that attack. And so far in this game, both these players try and do an early attack. Both these players defend it almost perfectly. I would say for Trap here, of course, losing those 6 workers early is a bit of a sore right now, as Clem is still only a worker behind him. Make that 2 as the Phoenix go in, grab an SC and get on out. Work well done. The Protoss High Council, of course, is very happy with their contribution to the war effort, and they're going to be headed back across the map to try and see if Clem has any hidden drops heading across the map. Now that Raven is still pocketed down to the bottom left corner, so Clem is building up energy on that, and it does look like Trap once again is actually going to be going for the gateway-based army, which I don't know if I like it against this build for Clem, because Clem is already going to be getting Widow Mines, and also, Clem hasn't lost as much as he did in the last game, so until you really have any upgrades, Clem should just be able to outtrade this until Trap is able to get up, a critical mass of Zealots. And I don't know if that's going to happen, because this push is coming across the map before those 3 gateways are done. They're just now going to start warping into warp gates. And as well, you're going to have that Raven with lots of energy for an anti-armor missile. And that can get so much work done. As you see right now, Clem, he's up about 20 supply, but it's going to be the auto turrets down from the Raven. Immediately 3 go down. Shield battery overcharges pop. It's the stim in from Clem. Those Cyclone lock-on getting so much damage done. Instead, Clem is just going to try and seesaw this over to the natural, but no. Now, trying to push back towards the 3rd. Oh! Widowmines get a bit of splash damage onto the Marines, but still Clem can trade well. He can still push this. The Zealots are down with their charge. Only now are more being warped in. The Cyclone trying to get as much damage as it can done, but I think Trap just has enough. The Zealots tanking up so much damage for the Phoenix to come through, but now it's the reinforcements for Clem. Gonna stop Trap from chasing that army down. We'll even pick off a Zealot with the Cyclone. And Clem, he has that 3rd CC going down on location, but he's gonna continue to try and push this. Has +1 attack now with this attack. Has Stim, Combat Shields, Concussive Shell, and now Widow Mines added on. That just means that this massive ball of Zealots is not going to be as good as it was before. They just get a little bit of their shield shredded. This bio starts to completely cleave through this army as there we go. Ooh, Force Field's not actually the best. They keep the Zealots out. Try to trap the army, but just barely missed. And Clem continuing to try and apply pressure. He knows he needs to. In this situation as the Terran, you don't want the Protoss to be building workers. If you let up, Trap is immediately going to go back into worker production, because right now he's just focused on building units to try and defend, and so Clem needs to keep on the pressure, and well, Trap just threw in a round of workers. Trap just threw in a Templar Archives. I don't know if Trap knows that this is over. All the Phoenix are trying to drag the mine hits, and they're doing a decent job. Managed to get the medevac. The army trade is still fairly even. And again, Trap had to give up all his Phoenix there to hold that with the mine drags. But now, of course, Trap can chase this down. Reinforcements coming through to protect the third, though. Clem, still only 2 workers behind. But Trap's army has finally managed to catch up. So we have this small group of zealots gonna be cleaned up. And Trap only is just now finishing up +1. I would have expected that to get done sooner, like it was in game 1. In game 1, Trap, I believe, had his +1 finishing up only like a few, like 10 seconds behind his charge. But he's still gonna be hitting an attack with it now, as here we go. Clem already spreading his units, has Widow Mines in position. The first shot goes off, a lot of damage onto the SCVs, but the SCVs now being pulled to fight. And I don't think this was the attack for Trap. Sure, you have that upgrade, but you are not in a position to try and push down the Terran, who has taken, I mean, scarcely any damage. And Clem, quite a good trade there. As you're looking at those resources lost, only about 500 more for Trap. But again, I mean, Clem's on even bases with the Protoss right now. And as soon as you're on even bases in TVP, again, your income is just gonna be, it's gonna be better. You're gonna have mules, of course. You're already seeing Clem mining about 200 to 300 more minerals per second at the low end. Because Trap's trying to establish a fourth right now. You know, right now Clem's in a great spot. He's almost 20 supply up once again. And Clem, he's gonna push on in. That Widow Mine shot is massive. The Cyclones are eventually eliminated now, but I mean, just look how weak this army is. It's +1/+1 for Clem. He's pushing across the map. I mean, Trap tries to get a concave here, but the force fields just keep the Zealots out. Clem can continue to push this. There's not a lot here for Trap. Again, I mean, Trap just, he had to keep producing units. Clem was gonna keep attacking. It feels like he tried to transition a bit too fast. There we go, finally some decent force fields go out, but a massive Widow Mine hit onto all of the Zealots. The Phoenix get eliminated before the Widow Mine shots go off. And Clem, he's 40 supply up. He's pushing it in. Shield battery overcharge goes down. There's an Archon here to fight, but I don't think it is enough. As Clem is just rallying across the map, still has Widow Mines in location to try and deal damage to these Zealots. And there's nothing left for Trap. Clem macroed this so well. He took no damage in the early game. And this is the result of that, as GG. Clem's gonna tie us up. I'm trying to think about the matches that I've seen on it so far. It feels decently balanced. You know, I don't feel like there really has been a clear favorite either way in PvT, but I have seen more Terrans winning on it. I think for Terran, the pushability of the bases is very, very nice, and so that makes it a bit easier to play this map versus Protoss. It's especially easy to split the map and to have, because you have so many attack paths. Now, starting off game 3, we are tied up 1-1, and of course Clem managed to get the win in that game 2, and it was off just some pretty solid play. Again, he didn't take much damage in the early game. Switches up the build order, goes for something a lot less risky, that's a lot more standard, that he knows can defend. If Trap tries to throw out these little off timings, you know, early attacks, as we get some shots of the Xel'Naga there, and it did very, very well. Now, you did have Clem try and hide a barracks here to be a little bit sneaky, to try and maybe trick Trap into thinking that he was proxying, but Trap just goes down to the natural and scouts out that their position there. And so we shouldn't have any early shenanigans this game. Of course, in game 1, you had the proxies. In game 2, you had the NG Bay block. And now this game, it's completely standard. Trap is just going to be getting up his natural on time. Clem, albeit he did hide his first few buildings. Of course, Trap has seen that. If you're looking at Trap's view there, yeah. Has managed to see the the hidden buildings. And so there's really not much that Trap is worried about here in this early game. It's just going to be going on into the Stargate, which has been his preferred style. Now, Stargate, in TVP, it's a building that is definitely very useful. Even if you're only going for like 1 or 2 oracles, and that's where you're stopping, that's still very nice to have out early. It gives you map control, it gives you vision especially, as well as giving you access to the stasis wards. And so it's definitely not a building that I mind. Against a player like Clem, though, who is so good at like constantly pushing, it definitely can have its weaknesses, because you're not really going to be able to comfortably get on into Colossus or any of those really high-tech units, because if you're going Phoenix, that takes up so much minerals and gas to produce them that you're not, if you try and go for Colossus, of course you can. Phoenix Colossus is a unit composition that some players do kind of try and go, but when you have someone who pushes as aggressively as like a Clem, it's not really possible. It doesn't work as well. And now we do have these Hellions push across the map. Now this is the standard where you just get 2 Hellions early, and you're going to try and push across the map with those. The Phoenix should be pulled back to pick up one of them, picks up the High Elf Hellion. Only 2 probes having gone down so far. Of course, the one scouting, and then the one there on the ramp. And this Hellion should get cleaned up as well. So Trap not taking all too much damage in the early game, and it is going straight into Phoenix. So no oracles this game, which does surprise me, because Hardwire has a lot of ramps, and actually stasis wards are quite good on this map. But Trap is going to cut them out. Instead is going straight for the Phoenix, and this does allow you a bit more lenience with your tech as a Protoss if you do not go for the 2 oracles. It does mean that you can try and get on into Colossus if you'd like, and on a map like Hardwire, where you do have quite a few chokes, especially around your 3rd base locations, that can be quite nice. Now, on the other side of the map, we did have Clem go for a bit of a variation on a standard opener. Wow, Trap didn't commit actually. Got on into the main, but did not commit in with the shade. But you do have the Barracks Factory Barracks starport opening, as we do have the Phoenix poking on in. There's actually nothing here in the main mineral line, so just 2 SCVs go down for free. But this opening has gained quite a bit of popularity recently. Usually, in the past, players have just liked the 1-1-1, but this version of a 2-1-1, I'd call it almost, gives you a lot of pushing power. It gives you a lot of ability to be aggressive on the map, especially. You know, if you want to be, just because you're going to be getting a lot earlier of a stim, you're going to have a lot more Marines out, and so you can press a lot sooner than you otherwise would with a regular 1-1-1 opening, while also still being safe, like unlike a 2-1-1, whereas in the 2-1-1, you're, you know, especially in TVP, it's not popular, but you're getting out a lot of Marines early, and that's about it. And so if they do end up pushing with something like Stalkers that are microable against those Marines, you're kind of screwed. This opening gives you access to those earlier Hellions, gives you access to earlier Widow Mines, and gets you that stim up much faster. Now, Clem is going to be pushing out with this, and we'll see how ready Trap is. I don't know if he really understands how powerful this push is going to be. Does have a lot of Adepts out, though, which is, of course, a very, very nice answer when you don't have those charge lots up and ready yet. And of course, the Phoenix, always a threat here, so it's going to be hard for Clem to really find an angle. Does have 2 medevacs that have now joined. As the Widow Mine gets picked off, I don't think Clem's going to be able to find an angle to push in here. Trap just on top of the army movement, making sure he has units positioned wherever Clem may want to push. And as I did mention, it is the charge follow-up, so we're not going to be seeing robotics tech. It has, I wouldn't say it's actually fallen out of style. Oh, those Widow Mines! Only get a single Phoenix Trap. Actually split that pretty beautifully at the last second. But yeah, the robotics tech, you know, like the Colossus, especially in the early game, it's very hard to hold with it if the Terran knows what they're doing. You know, if they get out one Raven, if they have early Marauders, if they just split their units and focus fire, the Colossus can be very vulnerable. So it's understandable why Trap is not going for it. But I am a bit worried because, you know, Clem's going to continue to try and push this, and the extra gateways aren't up yet. Trap is only just now finishing those 5 additional gateways. You know, charge is done, but he's not going to have those warp-ins for a little while they are morphing. And oh, this army's just getting caught out. Trap! That movement was not what you need. He had to try and protect his natural, but his units were stuck at his 3rd. Oh, Clem might have just found the angle that he needs, as now the Phoenix are going to go on in. The Widowmine shots, though, getting a bit of value to start, but they are now all used up. The Marines stemming back in, though. They think they can find more damage, and they absolutely can, as they shred through the armor on the Phoenix. The sentries are going down. Warpins to try and survive here. Additional Zealots coming through from Trap. But now, I mean, Clem, again, he has the Widowmine set up still. He can continue to push this. Oh, Trap, just a little bit of a misstep. Just a little bit late on those additional gateways. I mean, not even late, but again, just the army being out of position. And Clem now has so much leniency in this game, as the mine drags are good. They get so many Marines red, but I don't know if it's gonna matter. There's so many medevacs here to heal. The probes have to be pulled, and Clem just finds the killing blow like that. Trap, 14 workers down, 63 supply. There is no game back on into this game. And on Hardwire, Clem is going to come out victorious. And welcome to Berlingrad. I'm sorry, that was that was not it. That was not it. All right, but we are on to Berlingrad for map number 4. And perhaps against many people's expectations, unless, you know, I mean, actually, no. But perhaps according to many people's expectations, on match point, looking to try and take the series up to 1 in the top left-hand corner. Ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be your Red Terran going for that gas first. Which has some implications about the build. It's Clem. And in the bottom right, from a Freak of Freaks, he's got one more chance to bring it back here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Trap. Oh. Well, it looks like they were already on that camera. So you know what? Who needs manual intros? But yes, we are on to Berlingrad. Clem up 2-1. A very, very succinct game on Hardwire. Again, just hits the timing attack with the kind of augmented 1-1-1 with the second barracks before starport, and it works to great effect. Very, very good. To very, very great effect. Now, Berlingrad, this is a map that actually I've gone to watch quite a few Protoss games on. I've actually gone to watch quite a bit of Trap on this map, and from what I've seen, it seems to be a pretty good map for Protoss. There's a lot of open space, especially, to take advantage of, and usually you'll say, well, you know, maybe that's good for the Terran because you can split, you can try and set up surrounds. But it also means there's a lot of space for the Protoss to maneuver, to set up their own surrounds, to look especially for counterattacks, is where I've seen Trap have success on this map, is looking for Zealot counterattacks. So I'm interested to see. Usually on this map, I think Trap still is going to be going for the Stargate play. He's been doing that, you know, every single game. I wouldn't be surprised if he sticks with it, but this is absolutely a situation where you could veer away as, oh, Clem, stop it, what is this? Oh my, Clem, double eBay block from Clem here on the low ground. He is going to lose the SCV, of course, but he should be able to get the cancel there on the engineering bay, no problem. And that does mean that, hey, Trap did have to put down the starport early, or the Stargate early, so it is, in fact, going to be the Stargate opener here for Trap once again. As I said, not surprised that he's sticking with it, especially on this map. He seemed to have a lot of success with it, more so than other maps. Another thing that's very nice about Berlingrad as well is that while, yes, there's a lot of space to attack your third, it also means there's a lot of space to attack the Terran's third. And so usually, as the Protoss, this map gives you a lot of ability to try and engage in the center of the map, especially if you have your upgrades finishing, to try and slow down the Terran. And then you have a very, very nice counterattack kind of options that you can go for. And so, for that reason, I think a lot of Protoss perhaps will end up liking this map, as we do have a few units hidden here by Trap. I actually really like this. He's going to catch this first move out here from Clem, which is very, very good, as the Cyclone is trying to get a lock on, but it's onto the Zealot, so it's not the best here. Oh, the vision being blocked. Oh, the Adept doesn't go down. Oh, Trap that micro. The dance in the bush. And Trap cleans up everything there for only a single Zealot. That was gorgeous. Now actually, ooh, Clem unable to get the kill onto the Oracle in return. And that's a good start for Trap. Again, getting rid of any units that you can for the Terran, especially since right now Clem is going to be a little bit behind on that natural base timing, but Clem was trying to get a bit of damage with that Cyclone Marine push out. It's not one that's going to get, usually it's not one that's going to get probe kills, but you can pick off Adepts, you can pick off Stalkers, and so it's a very, very nice kind of push out. Trap, though, completely defeats it. Now, we do also have this Proxy Pylon setup that's warping in 2 Stalkers, and Trap, it's 2 Oracles immediately into a Twilight Council, so he's finally switching it up. We're not going Phoenix this game. Trap is going to try and be aggressive. He's going to try and get out on the map. And I really, really like this from Trap. Now, you do have 2 Cyclones out, which is a bit of a threat there for the Stalkers. They're definitely not going to be happy with trying to push on into that. So Trap is just going to back up, but it's immediately into a 3rd Gateway and Blink. So we're getting 3-gate Blink. And I really do like this build, especially in the hands of someone like Trap. Now, of course, it's, you know, the maximum efficiency you would probably say would be getting by, or would be gotten by someone like Parting. But still, I really, really like this build. Now, we did, again, have, a little bit of a change up here for Clem. So this time we actually went up to 3 barracks after the factory, instead of just the 2, and then has added on the starport. So it's even less of a build that's focused on getting that early push out. And it's going to be trying to line up, I think, looking at the stim timing and the starport, this should be looking to push out like properly at around 6:45, if I'm not mistaken. And they start pushing out by that time, as you should be having the starport swapping on over. But Trap has actually managed to avoid all of Clem's army. This is like a ship's passing in the night here. Trap will get the first kind of clue as to what's happening, as he has to cancel his 3rd Nexus. But now Trap, oh, he's bringing his army back. If he manages to intercept this. Okay, Clem is smart. Does pull his army around the long way. Doesn't want to risk running into any of Trap's units, but Blink is almost done here. And Trap actually does manage to find the Terran army. Blink forward, gonna be able to get at least a few Marines as the scan goes down to try and snipe off those Stalkers, but that's not gonna happen. And Trap actually has a lot of units right now. Oh, this is 4 gates. Oh, this isn't 3 gates. I was mistaken. No, this is 4 gates right now from Trap. This is a lot more aggressive than I had initially thought. As here we go, Stalkers coming on in. SCVs have to be pulled. The Blink backs from Trap, trying to get damage done, and should be able to. Already a lot of SCVs end up falling. 6 go down. You still have an Oracle available. And Trap getting aggressive. He hasn't used really, you know, a Twilight Council all series. And managing to catch out Clem here with the 4 gateways. Gets 8 SCV kills. And this is actually, oh, Trap's committing. Wait a second, there's no 3rd base here. I mean, Trap should be putting down a 3rd soon, but Trap is going to be committing to like full-on gateway pressure off this 3rd. That's immediately a Forge. Twilight Council in charge with Storm. I love this from Trap. This is going to be so aggressive out, and it's going to be, it's a composition, and it's a build that's very much focused on map control. Again, you got the early Oracles, you got the 4-gate Blink Stalker up, you know, the 3-gate into 4-gate Blink Stalker up. And now you're even getting Charge and Storm. You're going for this gateway-based army that's just going to try and dominate the ground. And this is something, again, Trap has not done this all series long, and so we'll see how it works, but it's a build that should be very, very strong, especially right now with Clem, who sure has a lot of bio, doesn't have a lot of the tech units to augment the power of this bio. Hasn't really gone into a very significant Widowmine count, and even by the time that Clem does, Storm is already going to be done for these High Templar. Yeah, this is great from Trap. I mean, he's done so much damage right now. I think, what is it? Yeah, 9 workers killed in total. Trap just absolutely out-trading in the efficiency metric right so far in this game. It's up, I mean, 14 workers as a result of that. Is an insane worker difference, as Clem has only just now put down his 3rd base. Trap is already almost saturated on his 3rd, and he's going to be able to, oh, doesn't snipe the Widowmine. That shot 5 workers killed. Trap didn't pull away, will manage to pull away workers this time. And, oh, Blinks kills the medevac. 5 workers go down, but again, Trap already had a worker lead, so it's still up 13 workers or so, producing 3 at a time, but Clem's committing to the attack. Has combat shields, has concussive shell, has stim, but only +1. Now, there are no upgrades here for Trap. Does not have a +1 of his own, but Storm is done. And I just don't think you can push here as Clem with Storm done. It's, of course, you know, there's only about 2 more Psy Storms left, perhaps 3. But I just don't think it's possible for Clem to push, especially with that Zealot counterattack. Oh my, Trap. Some great plays so far here in game number 4. That Widowmine shot, 7-10 probes go down. They just walk their way on in. And this Zealot counterattack gonna be cleaned up here by Clem, who sure, you know, he's at a worker deficit, but now has a very, very strong army, and he's gonna have +1/+1 for it fairly soon. But Trap as well, getting the ground weapons level 1 finished up for his Stalkers and his Zealots. And still that Storm is such a dangerous... It's so dangerous against this army. I mean, Clem's not going to have Ghosts for quite a while. Again, the 3rd base was so late for Clem. He was going for the pressure. He had the 3 barracks before the starport. You want to be aggressive with that. That means you want to try and be on the map. You want to try and be pushing, but he hasn't been allowed to do that. Trap has been shutting him down very, very efficiently. Only now is Clem able to get some map control and able to push out, but it immediately gets tied up by Revelation. And behind this, you have +2 already started for Trap, who has stopped worker production at 60. Nice, I mean, a nice pull away, but still loses 5 more workers. Clem is being actually just vicious with these Widowmine counterattacks, and it's really slowing down Trap. But of course, still is sitting at 54 workers, but look at these counterattacks. They've just been queued up by Trap. This is just so good. Like, just the way he's doing this, he's stopping Clem from pushing. You know, Trap knows that his army in a straight up fight might lose. You know, there's definitely a chance for Clem, if he micros extremely well, to run him over with this bio. So these counterattacks just are constantly keeping him busy. And so all that Clem can do right now is look for these Widowmine drops. And albeit these Widowmine drops have been getting insane amounts of damage, but there we go. The Oracle gets sniped. Trap was not quite looking at it. So that means that no more Revelations. Trap is not really going to have an idea of where Clem's army is on the map, but you have another Widowmine drop down towards the main base. It's going to boost on in. Already a cannon there, though. Clem going to try and hit 2 blazes once and still gets 5 workers. Trap's just not responding. Trap is just looking for an attack at the front. Trap lost 11 workers. How is Clem getting back into this game? I feel like Trap was in such a good position, but these Widowmines, Trap has just not been handling them well. The counterattack is mistimed. The whole army is here. Clem is up workers. Clem is even on bases. You know, the 4th base is coming up for Trap, but isn't done yet. And now there are ghosts being produced. This is crazy. Clem's up 40 supply. What? How? I mean, I know how, but how? Trap just completely getting picked apart by these Widowmine drops. But now you have 2 Colossus on the way. Trap is transitioning into double Colossus, but he needs time to get it up. He needs time for extended thermal lance. He has +2, and of course that's very, very strong here for the Protoss army. It just allows him to trade so much better. But you also don't have the armor upgrade, so the Zealots are not as tanky as you'd like them to be. That means that this is just a very, very hard situation right now for Trap. As the Storm drops, gets a great first connection, gets another one as well. And Clem? Wait, Clem doesn't have +1 attack. Clem only has armor. What? Wait, that has to be a mistake. Clem does not have an attack upgrade right now. It's +2 attack to 0. There's only the armor upgrade right now for Clem. Even though he's up 20 supply, that makes a huge difference. Especially with Trap getting his +1 himself, and that Storm, you know, and these Storms just getting so much damage. I feel like there's a massive misstep here from Clem, who's trying to push 2 locations at once. Should be able to break down the cannons and the shield batteries at this 3rd base. But here comes the Templar drops. Oh, Trap's looking for the surround on the other army. He's looking to flank it, but Clem's just going to stim on through. Not going to be worried at all. Oh, a lone Colossus here as the right side is being chased back. Yeah, Trap. A little bit of mismanagement. This Colossus should end up going down. But what's happening on the right side? It looks like Trap is winning that engagement perfectly fine. uses up all the storm drops, chases back that army, and pretty soon, Trap is about to have a 2 upgrade advantage. Again, that's so massive. And I can't help but feel like not having that +1 is an oversight by Clem. Even right now, has 100 gas available to him. And Trap's just gonna push. Trap has armor finishing up. Trap knows that his army is strong. And Ghost EMP is going down. The Archons are gonna fall though. The Colossus are all that's left. There is a Disruptor shot. That Storm absolutely shreds through the meat of the bio. And I think Clem should, or Trap should have enough. There's not enough here for Clem. Another Storm goes down. Marauders, it doesn't matter if you have armor, GG. We're going to game 5. 2-all, 2-2. 22 is the score that we have here in this best of 5. And we are on to Glittering Ashes. The big map for the final game is in the bottom right. Left, sorry, it's Trap. I blame my dyslexia. And the top right, it's Clem. And oh baby, is this going to be an absolutely killer game number 5. These two have been going at it. And even in that game that Trap won there, it was not convincing. And now, ooh, sorry. Nerd chills. This is awesome. This is so cool from Clem. This is so cool. All right, so remember back to game number 3. Clem tries to hide a barracks, or tries to fake a proxy barracks by hiding one in his natural. Trap, of course, scouts that. It doesn't end up being anything. Now, though, Clem is going for the proxy racks. The only giveaway is, of course, the second gas. Now, Trap should be able to see that and realize, all right, if you have a second gas, this should be a proxy. But still, I love the mind games that Clem is trying to throw out here just a little bit. You know, just say, hey, I've done this before, but here's a bit of a difference. Can you try and find this barracks? So now you do have the immediate zealot, so, you know, of course, Trap does realize that this is most likely a proxy and not just a hidden barracks on Clem's side of the map. Again, just good recognition there of the gas. And of course, the fact that Clem, you know, you're not going to take 2 gas if you're trying to hide a barracks just in your natural. You're not going to do that. And we have the NG Bay block going down again. Now the Reaper should be out pretty soon. This is a very close proxy as well, so this Reaper is going to have plenty of time to try and get down, trying to chunk through the HP of the Zealot. It's a lot. It takes a while to kill these Zealots. They are beefy boys, but the Reaper is going to be across the map very, very fast, and that means that it should be able to at least try and get some damage done here. And when the Zealot's on the NG Bay, the Adept isn't done. Clem's just going to go straight onto the mineral line. We'll see how many workers he can get killed. Already some good micro here by Trap, pulling back the injured probes. Oh, Clem can't move in. This probe blocking is so good. And the Adept is out. Wow. Trap. That was handled so well. Oh, he gets the Reaper. Wow, that was Trap there. Handled that incredibly. Again, the probe micro. I think any player there could possibly lose up to probably 4 probes or so if Trap is allowed, or if Clem is just allowed to focus fire as he wants, but not Trap. Doesn't lose anything. Gets rid of the NG Bay block, has his Nexus down at a decent time, and already has his Stargate up. Should be producing a Phoenix very, very shortly as soon as he has the minerals for it, and there we go. And it's an Adept and a Zealot going to try and hit across the map here. Ooh! Does manage to delay the CC. And anything that Trap can get here is good right now because Clem did put himself a little bit behind. Clem's not going to have bio units out, really not as quickly as he would. Now, Clem is still going into the second racks before the starport, so he will have units out, but again, not as quickly. It's going to be delayed. It's going to especially delay the pushing power of Clem significantly. And so Trap's going to have a bit more lenience here in the mid game. And so you immediately have the Twilight Council being put down. I like this from Trap. Again, run it back. Game 2 or game number 4. Last game, it worked very, very well actually to go for the blink, to go for, you know, the aggression with the gateway units. And so Trap is going to run it back. My only worry, of course, is that this comp does not have a really comfortable way to deal with Widow Mines. And that's where we saw Clem get back into the game. That's where in game 4, Clem was able to almost get back into a winning position had it not just been for how how much he had to sacrifice to get his army to that point. Clem had to sacrifice upgrades. He only had +1 armor, and that just meant that he could not trade well. His units did not trade well. And so, again, I like this from Trap. Again, it's against a Clem who's going to have not as much pushing power as he otherwise would. Excuse me, as I have to yawn because I didn't take a breath. But it worries me because of those Widow Mines, and we'll see if Clem is going to recognize this. Now, it is just the 3 gate this time, so you're not going to be getting that 4th gateway added on until about the time when the 3rd base is going to be coming down here for Trap. And there we go. 3rd Nexus on location. Now already the stim started up for Clem, who does have, again, the 2 barracks, adding on a 3rd now after the starport, which has been completed in a single Viking, is being produced to help deal with the Oracle. The Oracle, though, for Trap, is going to be kept home, and I think keeping the Oracle at home and just using it for stasis wards, as well as revelations, is very valuable, especially if you don't think you can get any damage with it across the map. It's better just to keep it alive. Better to keep it on your side of the map, use it to scout around, use it to set down stasis traps and stasis wards, sheesh. Just to have that defensive unit, the information available to you. And now we do have Blink finishing on up. The 3rd base, in last game it was canceled. You know, Clem was able to push across the map. That's not the case this game. Again, Clem is working on 2 barracks right now, but there's not a lot of units out for Clem. Hasn't even started at +1, I believe, right now, units-wise. Clem, I mean, what do you really have? It's 8 Marines, 2 Marauders. Sorry about that. It's 10 Marines, 2 Marauders, a Raven, and a Siege Tank, as well as the Cyclones. It's a very strong army. There's a lot of tech in this. The tanks, of course, add a lot of defensive capabilities against the Stalkers. That's Clem just adapting to what Trap did in the last game, which stopped him from pushing out across the map for so long. But again, Trap's gonna have the better army to scrap. Trap's gonna have the army that wants to be out in the streets. It wants to be in the phone booth, scrapping with somebody in the tight, contained corners, with a knife, trying to see trying to see how much damage that he can do. That's what Trap's army is able to do. That's what it's going to be the best at, is just engaging in the center of the map. Now this Raven is actually getting quite a decent bit of damage. 5 probes already go down. Trap, though, does manage to snipe the Viking across the map with those Blink Stalkers. You do have Clem pushing out here. Has stim, has combat shields. No concussive shell, though, for the Marauders, so he's not going to be able to really chase down these Stalkers that are just trying to pick away at units. Oh, the Medevac's going to go down. That's a great pick here for Trap, as Clem looking to push on to the 3rd, but charge is done. Auto turret doesn't get any more damage done. Oh, Cyclone lock-on. Trap was unable to pull back, but again, the reinforcements being cut out. Oh, those force fields are great. Oh, the Widow Mine shots, though. It's so much damage. The tank trying to be focused down. Trap using these Stalkers as best he can. The charge lot should be able to hold back at home. As all the Widow Mine shots are down, you have the Oracle, of course, still available, and a single Phoenix that has been produced. Again, Trap, his army can scrap. It can brawl. It can fight with a metal pipe in the back alleys. And so Clem, he's going to try and keep pushing this, but again, with the tank gone, that really eliminates a lot of the staying power for this army, especially with, the Widow Mines not being burrowed just yet. They are finally going to push on forward. But you do have that Phoenix available for Mine Drags. Clem isn't able to focus down. Instead, he has to unburrow the mines, and that means that the Zealots are now on top of absolutely everything. The mine shots, though, clean up all of the Zealots almost. Clem's going to keep pushing this. This micro from Clem is absolutely amazing. As he's still pushing, it's 7 Stalkers, it's 5 Zealots. It's not a lot. It's a very low health army from Clem, but the Medevacs still have energy. As the Revelation goes down, the Stalker's still trying to pick away. The blink backs from Trap are so good, but you got more units coming across the map for Clem, who's just trying to power push down this 3rd. Widow Mine does manage to go down. Shield Battery Overcharge is back up. And that should be what allows Trap to finally stabilize. Oh, Clem! The retargeting, what? What? That was so cool. Ooh, but the proxy gateway going down. Oh, Trap. This is how he's going to try and stop this push. Again, it's the counterattacks. This is exactly what he did last game. Is just counterattack. Now he could go straight for the third. Yeah, turns that Zealot group around. Realizes that the third is there. He's going to just push on in. And that's where the Ghost Academy is as well. Clem, what are you going to do? You have units rallying out, but you're going to lose a lot of SCVs. 7 go down. The third is gutted. Reinforcing troops should be able to clean it up. But Clem is still trying to push the front. There's still more Widow Mines available. But there's a lot of units in that medevac. Finally going to be dropped on out. Force fields come on down. These Stalkers have gotten so much value this fight. But it just might not matter. Oh, another Widow Mine. Gonna finally fall. The blink backs. Archons are now available. And Trap, after about a minute and 30 seconds, almost 2 minutes of pushing, is gonna be able to stop Clem from encroaching on his third base. That was exhausting. But now you have the speed warpins from Trap. He's gonna try and get counterattack damage because he needs it. There's no fourth base right now for Trap. Trap's on 3 bases. Trap was not able to get up a fourth behind this. Trap is, I mean, he doesn't have Storm yet, and there are ghosts already out. Clem right now is up 24 supply. This is, again, this constant pushing from Clem, keeping things alive. It's allowed him to get so much lenience right now in this game. And sure, Archons are out, but they're not at the front, actually. Clem can continue to stim forward as long as those Archons are not at the front of the army. Finally, they're being microed forward. And Storm will finally finish here for Trap. But again, there's no fourth base. Clem has his CC started. And Trap, he's floating money. He has no fourth Nexus on the way. I mean, what's the plan here for Trap? You need to do something. It's a Robo Bay, a second one being added on with the facility. It's gonna be Colossus or Disruptors. The Zealot drop isn't gonna come through again. Trap just trying to cause chaos across the map. He's trying to disrupt as much as he can as he finally puts down that third Nexus on location. Has an Immortal out as well. There we go. Zealot's gonna be warped on into the main. There is a Ghost here to help defend in the Widowmine Burrow. Actually should be able to eliminate this quite handedly as the second Widowmine shot doesn't go off, but still. Clem cleaning it up. Clem is up 40 supply. They're even on upgrades, but this third is a bit exposed. But what is this army for Trap? There's not a lot here. There are Ghosts out as well, so there are EMPs available to try and EMP the High Templar. One Storm, though, is very, very good. Gets a lot of damage done. A dodge on the EMP. Feedbacks onto the Ghost with only a single one of the High Templar to save Storm energy. But still, Clem is up 40 supply. Clem is going to get his base on location by the time Trap's Nexus finishes. And Clem's almost double. Oh my god. Clem's almost doubling Trap's army supply. Clem has completely taken control of Glittering Ashes. The power push, the snipe on the Warp Prism. Everything coming together here for Clem. He's up 30 supply. What is there for Trap? The Colossus aren't out quite yet. He needs still a bit more time. As, feedbacks go down. No Storm available, though. The Immortals and the Archons here, but there we go. The EMPs coming down onto the whole army. But the Colossus should be coming out soon. They don't have Extended Thermal Lance. They don't have +2. But they are still going to help as Storms go down to save the third Nexus. But there's no more Storm energy left. That's it. There's no more spells for Trap. One more Storm. Just barely had the energy for it. Just couldn't see it through the Colossus. But now Clem's pushing down the fourth. And at the same time, a counterattack by Trap across the map into Clem's third is getting cleaned up. But both armies are dying for Trap. Clem is pushing everything down. Clem is 60 supply in the lead. And this should be game 5 finished. Clem is gonna go on to face Maru. Trap tried valiantly, but unfortunately it was not enough. He gets one more juicy Storm here to try and push back the Terran onslaught. But this was such a great game here by Clem. And unfortunately for Trap, this is where he'll be eliminated in the round of 8 in the quarterfinals. As he's down to 2 bases, he's down to 44 workers, but he is not mining nearly enough. Clem, what a game, doubling the supply of his opponent. He has armies on either side, and he should be able to push this down. Trap, of course, is staying in, trying to fight. trying his hardest to stay in this game, but it's not gonna be enough. Clem is closing in. Trap did not do enough damage across the map. And the Colossus are now trying to step forward, but Vikings are out. GG! Clem takes game 5.